Hey everybody, Andy here, aka Montolio. We are back for another Vintage League, and we are running, you guessed, Cradlevine, beg your pardon, my favorite deck. And this is a version that is a deck that Canister recently 5-0'd with the last chance qualifiers last night and ended up going 5-0 with the deck. And I quite often have liked Bloodghasts. The reason I've chosen not to play them, and I think Canister typically plays 2 in his list, but moved up to 4 last night in anticipation of a metagame of White Initiative, which is a pretty good tech call. I have not run them because I just don't like making Leyline of the Void a reasonable option versus my deck. But I think people now realize, which also is an astute observation by Canister, that Leyline of the Void is not a very good card against the deck that we're playing, Grafdigger's Cage. And I think your vintage regulars typically identify that and don't play it against you. But so if that is the case, then Bloodghast is definitely a great call for this because it just gives your deck a staying power. And ironically, when Canister won the 5-0 match last night in game 2 against White Initiative, Bloodghast is the card that actually killed his opponent. So I'm going to try them out again today. I do like them. There is a cost. It's taken out Chalice of the Void and also at Once Upon a Time in our deck to make it happen, which is fine. We're going to try it and see how it goes. Not much else to say about the rest of the list. I think it's reasonably stock at this point, but we will trust in Canister that he knows what he's doing, and we're going to see if we can get some QPs with this. If you haven't done so already, guys, hit that like and subscribe button. See you round one. Okay, round one. We won the die roll. It's easy powder. Hand looks great. Well, great's an overstatement, but I mean, Gaia's Cradle following up these is going to be pretty solid with the Mox. I'm hitting for 7 damage next turn. And if I hit something like a... Well, we're up against Bazaar. Dredge. Ooh, this is probably not good for me. And we're going to need to find a Benjamin here in a Wasteland. That is my wish list. I guess that is a reasonable Bazaar. I can't complain there. I'm going to be honest. I think I want to fight over this because getting as much damage in as I can with that Gaia's Cradle next turn is going to be very important for me. Don't want to give them Force of Vigor right now. Okay, let's pass turn here. You don't want to give them the value, right, of getting 2 of them. There's no reason to play that there. And if they have a Chalice here, yeah, I mean, I get hit with it, but it shouldn't really impact anything here, even if I lose the Mox. They did find a hollow one. That's unfortunate. Ha! There's the Chalice. All right. I mean, it doesn't really matter here, but Hex Drinker, geez, that's a nice one. All right, let's get busy. This is really good here. Look at this, eh? I do think I'm just going to pump this up once, and next turn we'll make it go Saiyan. I'm just more interested in getting my opponent dead here. Next turn I can make it go Saiyan. And yes, my opponent can have a very strong turn here, but they shouldn't be able to kill me. Hex Drinker definitely looking strong there. Okay, that was a fantastic start for us. So Collector Roof, easy cut. Certainly want all of these. These, don't know that we want Dismember. I think Force of Vigor is just traditionally very bad. The reason I'm cutting the Moxes here, and I think it's an often overlooked card that you can cut out of your deck when you're playing Cradlevine. The sole reason I really have them there is insulated tabernacle protection. So you have your big Bazaar turn. Having something like this in play can save you from losing a Hollow One or a Vengevine, which can be just enough to kill your opponent. In addition to that, it's casting a turn one Collector Roof against a deck that relies on mana rocks. And none of those matter in the Bazaar matchup. So I do cut them now. Having a Black Lotus, I think, is worth it because we can cast Endurance off it. So I think this is reasonable. I don't think Force of Vigor in itself is a great card in this matchup, but what it does do is it does allow me to kill a Hollow One. And if I do happen to have a Bazaar type of hand, Bloodghast is in my deck this time, and I'm a little bit more reliant on the graveyard than I have been in the past. So I think it's worth keeping a couple in. I think this is a fine hand. Having potentially having an endurance is something. You know, like we have a draw and the off the Bazaar, or draw and a Bazaar activation here to find a green card, which is highly likely in my deck. In addition, we just hope we find a Wasteland here. Surgical was really nice. Surgical was nice for sure. I do think I'm going to take the Icarids here on their upkeep. What my opponent is going to do is they're going to Bazaar on the upkeep here. I normally would be a little bit more proactive with this. Let's see what they do here. Chill is okay. Going to attempt to take the Icarids out of their deck. So they do have a Wasteland for me. So that's not great. But I think they're going to have a really hard time beating me here. Because if I take the Ichorids and Archimedes away here, I'm not quite sure how they win. So Hollow One could be a thing. I could take it out of their yard here, but I don't think it's necessary. This should ice it here, I would think. Yep. They got another Bazaar. But that doesn't matter now. They're on Hollow Ones. And that's it. I've still got an Endurance and Force of Vigor in my hand here. Mm-hmm. They do have chills, I guess. Oh, no, there, you got the bridges there, yeah. So, Force of Vigoring a Hollow One is not ideal. So how many Hollow Ones do they got gone now? That's 3. Yeah. They had 12 cards. Do we have a Hollow One in exile? No. Mm-hmm. 3 chills, right? 2, 3. Any creeping chills in the yard here that they've discarded? No. So they can put us to 4. Oh, I didn't see that. Did not see that. Oh, that definitely puts us in a bit of danger here. I'm actually not thrilled with this. I did not see the Silver Smoke Ghoul. Hmm. That's pretty awkward. For I went from feeling completely secure there to uncertain. All right. Well, double Bazaar here is a problem. I did not see the Silver Smoke there. Yep. Oh, geez. They're going to replenish pretty quick here, I think. That's their last chill. There's a Silver Smoke. Yeah, that's game for me. Wow. Really impressive. I thought I had them there, guys. I thought I had them. Okay. I think I like the way I'm built here. It's not too often I get myself in a position where I think I have someone and I actually don't. And I that was just a byproduct of I misevaluated the type of deck my opponent was playing. They had the the silver smoke's in there. And when I was looking with the surgicals, I didn't notice them. And I didn't really have an ability to play around that in a different capacity. I guess technically I could have put their stuff away a little bit earlier rather than taking the damage from the creeping chill there. But that was only a temporary resolution with 2 Bazaars in play. So yeah, maybe a minor blunder on my part. I feel like Dredge is a tough matchup for my deck. As it is for every deck, pretty much. Dredge is really good. And is putting up numbers. I know that Lord Barris last weekend put up another top 8 into the Vintage Showcase with the deck. I think they ran 8-0 up into the top 8. Can't keep this one. This is much, much better. I think I have to put away the Gaia's Cradle here. All right. We've got a strong turn 1 play here if my opponent does not have counter magic or... actually, that's a big mistake on my part. I have to turn off their Bazaar, but I left my Bazaar. I mean, mine still taps for a mana, so it's not the worst. But the hollow one should have went away there, and I should have probably kept Cradle. Okay, that's my play. See if they're on the slow dredge here. And they are. It's actually not bad, believe it or not. Okay. I would do it in their upkeep to turn off Force of Negation, the surgical. Or do I wait for something that matters? I think I like being proactive. This could be a mistake because if they have one in their hand as well, it's pretty devastating for them. Okay, they don't actually have another... Well, they have a Shambling Shell. Noxious Revival doesn't matter. Okay. Like, this thing is going to close pretty quickly here. 8. I guess they discard their shell. Ooh, that's nice. I hope that wasn't too greedy of me there. think I'm going to cycle this. Guess there's no reason to do it now, right? I guess if I find a root wall or something that I want to cast, I guess so. Of course, I figure that is not good. Yeah, hopefully I didn't make a mistake here. No dredger in the yard there, or just a shambling shell. Okay. Believe it or not, none of those cards are good at all. Ha! That's a really bad one. That could have been single-handedly the worst once upon a time I've ever had. So if my opponent misses on Creeping Chill here, they did hit it, so it puts them to 1. So there's a chance I lose here. There's a chance. Okay, that's helpful. Let's see if we can fade here. Okay, that should not be enough. All right. Hex Drinker, definitely the all-star, both in Game 1 and Game 3 for us against Dredge. It's not a card you would think to be that relevant, but it surprisingly is good. And this is not the first time I've had that be the case against Dredge. A little bit overzealous, I think, in this particular game with reference to our turn 1 Surgical on their Stinkweed Imp. I think I was just really hoping to catch them with their pants down with another one in their hand, completely taking them off the game. But I think in hindsight, I probably should have just waited for a more proactive card. It's a tough call. It could have worked in my favor or worked against me. But I think traditionally, when you're playing against Dredge in those type of situations, you want to audible towards taking the important card that they dredge out of their yard. Sure, they could hit multiple cards that get you, but it's not that common in that type of situation. And if my opponent had a bricked on that particular dredge, we would have been that much stronger from that position. So see you guys next round. Okay, here we are, round 2. We've run into F. Fanoop, who won the Vintage Showcase on PO this week. They won the Showcase, and very good player, and tough matchup for us. They're probably looking at what we're playing right now and going, oh, hallelujah. We're going to powder that one away. This looks like a great one. Let's see what we can find. I mean, we're probably looking for some semblance of collector roof here, I guess. Benjamin might be all right. There's a Cradle. Which can help me cast Collector Roof next turn. I think I got to take the Vine here and try and win. And see how things shape up after my Bazaar activation. Okay, that's fantastic. Still pretty vulnerable here, even with the Force of Vigor in hand, but there's not much I can do about that. They're unlikely to mess with my Bazaar, so we're going to have some time to shape this up. I think what worries me here is a PO with Flusterstorm. Pete's a really smart player and could very well go to my upkeep before they do a PO. We do have a good card, though, in Collector Roof. And we've got 3 of them left in our deck that we could possibly find, but that will require either Cradle to make it work. And this is a pretty juicy Force of Vigor target here. I don't think that I can pass it up. Of course, if they cast another artifact here, I will respond with the Force of Vigor, targeting both Urza Saga and Mana Vault before the Opal's turned on. I think what Pete is thinking about is, does he want to tap this for Sensei's Divining Top? Which I suspect, was not a good play, but Nettle Cyst. How interesting. How much do I care about Nettle Cyst? It's pretty good. I can get rid of it, though. I think it's worth just doing this now. You know what? Like, the Mana Vault is not really a threat right here. I just don't want to give them blue mana by letting this resolve. I'd obviously much rather kill the Nettle Cyst. It's going to be a 2/2, meaning that I can only attack with the Vine here. But I think I'm going to take these 2 cards here. And we'll ditch Once Upon a Time to do it. Not ideal. Nice rip with the Gaia's Cradle there. Yeah. So I'm not really sure what my opponent is doing over there. Mox Opal is not a card that you typically see in workshops, but certainly could be in workshops. Could see this coming into play. I definitely want my Force of Vigors. I want my Besagus. I want my Collector Roofs. I could see maybe cutting a Hex Drinker. Maybe just a Blood Gas, something like this. Let's try this out. Okay. I mean, it's pretty bad. Opponent is mulliganed. Like, I've got Force of Vigors up here. Hard cast the Root Wall. I feel like we could just do better than this. Sometimes when I'm playing this deck, I get caught up in non-bizarre hands more than I think I should. I'm going to put the Gaia's Cradle back on top. I don't want to lose too many of those. I think this is fine. A little bit uninteractive on turn one, but we've got our best card in Collector Roof with all likelihood. Good card. That's a good one. And sometimes the non-bizarre hands work out fantastic. Other times, not so much. I mean, you saw me on game 3 of round 1 against Dredge there, where I turned off my own Bazaar. Now, it wasn't optimal how I did it. This is actually indeed workshops. Okay. Oh, interesting. A little bit risky doing this. That's scary. Let's see if we can find a hollow one here. Okay, that's not optimal. Ooh, then I do an opal. My collector roof is looking pretty nice here. If I can ever get it. I still think I need to look for a hollow one or Bloodghast here. Okay, that was actually a pretty good draw for us. I do like Beseiju. Okay. I do have a crack at those Vengevines next turn of note, if that Bazaar is still around. Let's see what they cast here. Yeah, okay. It's not the worst for me. Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah, that's pretty rough. That was nice from them. Mm-hmm. That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. I'm gonna have to do that. Sphere causing me problems. This is one I can pump up, so this is the more valuable creature. And next turn, we should be able to get a Collector Roof into play, which is going to be really powerful. The question is am I going to be too far behind for that to matter? So my opponent is going to get something here. Phyrexian Metamorph, probably just casting on their Automaton, is my guess. Or another Sphere, perhaps, which would be good. But I do think they're going to make it on the Patchwork Automaton, is my guess. Yep. Didn't attack. Ooh, Force of Vigor was a really, really nice draw for me, guys. Okay, I think I just cast the Collector Roof here. And hopefully they don't crack the Soul Guide. Yep. Okay, that's pretty powerful for me. My opponent has the board presence for sure here, but they only have 1 mana. At the cost of 2 life. Of note, they are at 12. We do have a Force of Vigor potentially coming down, and I can pay double ward if need be at some point. Yeah, Gingerbread's sweet. I have to take this. Hollow one is nice. But I really like all my cards. That's the issue I have. I can just cast the Hollow one, I guess? No, I can't. It requires me to discard a card this turn. I just really don't like that. It's a bit risky. Like, I'm just going to sit back here. I don't know. I'm taking damage from this thing. But if I can find a green card to pitch to Force of Vigor, I can remove these 2 major threats they have. Oh, Wasteland, that's crazy good for them. Yep, I mean, what am I going to do? What I could do is cycle Hollow one. Looking for a green card right now. But that doesn't give me the ward, right? This is a tough decision. They didn't Wasteland me here, so I have another turn at it next turn, right? I will not be able to kill both automatons. I think I just let them come. Oh, they're coming with both. So here's the thing. I can trade with... I think I do take this trade. I just I just can't decide whether I want to cycle this hollow one or not. Makes sense. I don't think so. Now I have to bizarre. I'm almost sure of it. Not optimal. Okay. So this allows me to play the tax. Well, not really, because they're going to waste me here this turn. So maybe it was better to have the other one. I'm not sure. What do I want to do? Go after Karn? I don't think so. I think I want to go after their life total, right? I think so. I mean, I will trade here if they don't have a play. Otherwise, I probably will just chump block with the Root Walla because the Gaia's Cradle's not staying here. I feel like my opponent's going to try and disrupt me. Let's see what they can find here. Just a cheap artifact to cast. They have a 0 caster. Okay, they're just trying to cast something here. They don't have the mana. Okay, that's really good. 3, 4, 5. But I cannot pay the ward. 3, 4, 5. Can't get through. See if they just wasteland me here. So what do I want to kill here? I feel like I just killed a Ginger Brute, right? All right. Got there. Tight. I was not expecting to see shops out of F and Oop, but seems like a good metagame call right now. All right, see you next round. Okay, guys, here we are, round 3. We are playing Cradlevine today. Won the die roll. We've got some interaction against something like PO. We've got interaction against something like workshops. Yeah, I'm going to try this out. We're gambling a little bit on Once Upon a Time finding us something good, but because we have the Mox and the land to get our Hex Drinkers going, it's pretty reasonable. You know, I don't know that there's a lot of Bazaar players, Cradlevine players that would keep a hand like this, perhaps for good reason, but I think the way I play, I tend to audible towards keeping these type of hands. Non-Bazaar hands do not scare me as much as other players, perhaps. Coming off Force of Vigor to do this, but I think that's okay. We have a lot of green cards in our deck. If Workshop's okay. All right. Wow, another Workshop deck. It's a bit scary. I do have 4 mana here. I can't pay the ward, though. Just going to try and get this thing up to Saiyan. Do I want to trade here? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, nice. Okay, they can just put that spear on there. Hopefully no sphere. Yeah, and they can still attach. Okay, that's a pretty good swing back, I have to admit. Green card? That is not a green card. I can block that thing. And hopefully I'll be eventually able to kill it. Okay, my opponent's putting up a really nice fight here. These are all scary cards. Just attach the Nettlecyst to the Patchwork. Yeah, that's a lot of life. And Trample. Sweet. Well, let's get in front of it as much as we can absorb. Okay, there's our green card. Like, I killed the 2 creatures, right, in the upkeep. Is that my plan? I think so. But if they just block here, like, they're going to know I have a Force of Vigor if I attack with that. I can pay 1 into my other Hex Drinker here. And I think I just untap Vigor, pay the ward on this, kill this, and I have to force him to have another creature in hand. All right. Yikes. Yeah, that's pretty bad for me. I did not expect to get hit by a car. All right. Ooh, that was nice. Opponent's dead next turn. Besage, if they have another creature to get going here that they can equip to, or we can cycle. Forge, yep. Another good showcasing of Hex Drinker there. Opponent had a really strong draw. I think I'm going to put in Mindbreak Traps. I don't typically know how good those are against shops, but I also could see us wanting Dismembers against this version. Like, I don't know. I don't know how I fit all this, but Hex Drinker was very, very good there. I don't think Mental Misstep is likely doing what I would like it to do. Excuse me, I beg your pardon. Two cards got to be cut. Collector Roof's a little slow on the draw. Let's try this. I don't know how good Mindbreak Traps are, but their deck does scare me, and I think having the ability to have one in my opener is pretty powerful. But it's probably not necessary. It's very possible they go Workshop Sphere or Trinisphere or something like that. So perhaps that's a mistake on my part. Not to intone that Workshops can't turn on a Mindbreak Trap very easily. As you know, of course it can. But I think it's far more viable against something like out of a creature strategy against White Initiative, which is extremely reliant on, Mox, land, creature. This is a nice looking hand. Definitely keeping it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty bad for me. All right. Nothing I can do about it. I do like Gaea's Cradle in a situation like this. Well, not really, because I can't actually enable. And the only thing I can hard cast is a Basking Root Walla. Not even a Wasteland. Wasteland would have been very strong here. Okay, I'm going to take the Cradle. I'm going to expose the cradle against my better judgment. Yeah. No attack. There's the wasteland. I'm going to do it. I mean, I get burned if they have an Urza Saga here, but I mean, what's a guy going to do? I guess I could technically cast the serum powder. Coming off of this. I don't think that's very good, but it might matter. No. I think I value dismembering this Patchwork Automaton while I have the opportunity to do it. Go to attacks, and then do it. They'll hold this back because they think I have mana to pump. Yeah, that's a bit rough, eh? Need some help. Okay. I'm coming off my ability to Bazaar or to pump my Root Wallace. I'm going to take 6 or 7 damage here this turn in order to move my plan forward. Worm Coil Engine. Okay, that's probably going to ice me. But being assertive in this regard does allow me to hard cast something like a Force of Vigor should I draw it. Collect a Roof. That does not help me. All right, I think my opponent's going to have me here. I think we can scoop this one up. Even though I thought about the Boseiju, it's just unlikely to really matter because they still get 2 tokens back. I think I'm going to come off the traps here for the reason I explained earlier. If they want to Pithing Needle me, I think it's okay. Quite often all my deck needs to be able to pull ahead is 1 Bazaar activation. And hopefully we can disrupt from there, but that is not going to do. Turn 1 Collector Roof. Hex Drinker with Wasteland. Could I keep this? Probably not, but I'm going to try it anyways. You know I am. Like any land off the top is really good. We've got Force of Vigor. This is probably not a winning hand, but I really don't want to go down to 5, and this is quite a viable turn 1 keep. Like Hextrigger can, if I can disrupt my opponent enough where they're on, multiple Moxen or Soul Rings, etc., to be able to execute their game plan, we might be able to pull away with it. These are risky keeps for sure, but they can pay off. And like as I say, going to 5 is not ideal in this deck, especially with the poor discard equity. We're going to keep this one. I'm going to put the Blazing Root Wall away. We're going to do Collector Roof, Hex Drinker. Here we go. And we have Force of Vigor. Yep. Wow. Okay. Do I wasteland that? I mean, it's obviously bait, right? Okay. We're executing our game plan, guys. Green card, land. Okay. I don't think pumping any more matters. We're going to play around a Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale here. All right, so we definitely did ourselves some justice there by identifying that Tabernacle was one of the ways that my opponent could get back into this game. Even if we had tapped into the Hex Drinker, I guess we could have just paid for the Hex Drinker, and I don't think that there's much they could have done regardless, but we played around an out that they may have had, and they actually did have it. So, yeah, another nice win against Workshops here, guys. We'll see you next round. Okay, guys, here we are in round 4 of our Vintage League. We're playing Cradlevine today. We're playing Larson, who is definitely a combo player. We're going to keep this a nice looking hand for us. I guess the question that I ask myself here is, do we pitch the Once Upon a Time or do we pitch the Benjamine for the Force of Vigor if necessary? Okay, nothing here. Could be Doomsday we're playing against. No, we're going to have the decision made for us. We're going to Once Upon a Time. And, I think we take Wasteland. I think that I was contemplating, do I want to keep Force of Vigor up here? And I feel like if my opponent had artifacts there, they probably, not to say that they're not sandbagging some things, but I feel like they probably would have put something out rather than holding it all. So hopefully it's not something we get burned by. But getting to my point is it's quite often better to execute your game plan than try and play defensively with a deck like this. And next turn, hopefully we can find a green source for our Force of Vigor with Wastelands, and we'll see. Is this a Mystical Tutor? Nope. Let's see if this is a Time Walk. Hopefully it's not. Time walk, okay. So this is definitely FNF's, the gentleman we played earlier in round 2, their PO list. So my opponent did sandbag with all likelihood here. Maybe not. I don't know. Like, what are the chances that they have Hull Breacher here? I don't feel like we need to play into it. Just going to attack with everything, and if my opponent flashes in a Hull Breacher, then that's totally fine. We will respond. So now is the time to do it. My opponent does have a Hull Breacher. Now we'll hold up Force of Vigor. This feels like a Hull Breacher. So it's very possible we get wheeled out. It's repeal. Okay. So they have now turned on my Vine next turn. Then we have Force of Vigor up here. And we have a whole bunch of these guys coming in. So it's lethal next turn, easy. But here's always the challenge of that, right? Now my opponent is Mystical Tutoring. They have 3 cards in hand, and they're going to have one of their choice on top. So let's see if we can survive. It's a recall. Okay. A recall is 3 random cards. So there's no guarantees it's going to work. So they are trying here. So that's probably not great news for me. Do I respond to this? I don't think so. It does take away their ability to PO, though, doesn't it? With consistency, they go 1, 2. Yeah, I'm going to let them have it. It's a desperation act. Okay. Okay, so we're up against PO. We know that. Maybe something like this. Okay. Okay. Let's see what we can find here, guys. The reason I took the Yavimaya Cradle there is I want the ability to cast a Collector Roof next turn. We have double Bazaar here. My opponent should not be running Wastelands. Oh, well, that's an interesting question. We want double Force of Vigor here. I think so. It just gives us some brevity here should things go bad with a flusterstorm or something of that nature. And as always, like bad discard equity, right? Not thrilled to discard two Bazaars, but they've run their course. And if we find another green card off the top, should our collector roof get busted up, we're not in the worst shape. Yeah, Saga. Yep, makes sense. See if they time walk here. Top. Okay. I'm not going to get overly excited here right now because we've got the collector roof, and I strongly suspect the roof is going to get countered. But we still have to do our business. So awkward. We're coming off the vigor here, one of the vigors, but okay, that's probably a positive sign for me. They're looking, not to say they couldn't find a force of will here, but if it means that they have to tap their mana and flip their top, then it's not the worst for me. Now, the question we're faced here with is, do we be proactive and kill their Sensei's top and Urza's Saga here? And my feeling is yes, I'm going to attempt to do this. And the reason is that I want to keep them off Academy, I want to keep them off Tinker, and I also, most importantly, want to keep them off the most likely line is a 4 of Repeal. So let's see if they have Fluster here. They did not force the collector, so they have done it here. So this is likely a repeal. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the second Force of Vigor up here. Or, of course, they just may be pumping their Urza Saga up here. Yeah, Soul Guide's fine. So do they have the Academy in hand? No, they don't. Dismember is a possibility. Yeah, they have Dismember. Okay. I mean, it's a bit disappointing, but maybe we'll draw another one. Okay, Force of Vigor is not bad. What I could do in the upkeep. Maybe I just kill this thing now. I'd really like to kill their blue source because I have the Force of Vigor. No, I'm going to Bazaar here. I don't think I'm going to hardcast Vigor here. It doesn't give me a whole lot of value. And I feel like my opponent could be in a desperate situation. Let's see if they want to use their soul guide here to remove this. They might be desperate enough that, yep, so they are. And that's pretty reasonable. So I'm glad I did not look to do the other line there. Going to take their Saga away. Okay. They're just looking for a land here. We're in a pretty precarious spot, but we can hard cast a Force of Vigor next turn. If they play something like an Urza Saga or Mox and a Saga would be ideal. So there's a Saga. It's not. Yeah. I think I'm going to wait for a little bit more card equity here. I can hard cast Force of Vigor here, and I will do it if I'm presented with a reasonable enough option. Interesting. Hmm. Can hard cast these vines starting next turn, right? That's the thing. Okay. Just go about our business here, guys. We have to pitch the Force of Vigor in the Vengevine from this position if we get into trouble, but my opponent is pretty low on resources here. I don't necessarily like our position, but it's not the worst either. Love a green card. Okay. This is a green card. Because I have the ability to pitch here, I am going to put my opponent to the test right now. I could have saved this for next turn. But even if my opponent forces this, they'll have to expend a certain amount of resources to do it, an important amount of resources. Okay, they did find a Force of Will by the looks of it. Mm-hmm. And they pitched a repeal, which I'm reasonably pleased with, to be honest. I didn't want them to have the card advantage there. Like, yes, they have slowed my clock down. Their Mox Opal does not currently do anything. And if they tap this top, I guess I could consider pitching. It's not certainly ideal, but Because I can kind of, not for sure, but almost sit on these Force of Vigors, right? They're doing it again. Interesting. Do I do it? I don't think so. Yeah, and this is why. Let's see if this works. Okay. Next turn, I have the ability to turn their top off. And hopefully I can find a green card to force a Vigor, or another land that I can hard cast a Vigor if this resolves. Yep. Okay. Yep. So we cast the Collector Roof, leaving 2 men up. For this, they have no interaction, of course. So a little bit of an overkill, but I wanted to make sure that I did execute that properly. There was no point in wasting the additional red mana. We could have cast this, and that would have left us with 4 mana available to hard cast the Vigor once the Collector Roof resolved. So, yep, nice win, guys. See you last round. We're playing for trophy. Okay, guys, here we are in round 5 of our Vintage League. We're playing Cradlevine. We're playing Code Provider. Code Provider has a fair bit of range and is what I would deem to be a rogue player. So very hard to identify what we need to do with reference to what we're looking for in our opener, outside of a Bazaar, obviously. But that said, let's take it in and see how we do. Don't think that's one we want to keep. This one looks good, though. I mean, it's a little bit awkward because we have the second Mox in hand, but hopefully they don't have Force of Vigor here. Oh, they're just F6'd. Okay. I mean, we can empty our hand here. All right. I mean, what's a guy going to do, right? So likely a Swords is what I'm telegraphing from this. See no reason not to bump this up. Yeah, so they do have the Swords here. No. Is it a Mystical? Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, Saga's a bit scary. Oath of Druids. Yuck. Well, that's probably going to beat us. I guess if we hit a Gaia's Cradle, like, do we have a chance there? Okay. Oh, so close, guys. That's frustrating. The Gaia's Cradle actually might have done it for us there. Would have been 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. No. Okay, that does. All right, we won't be able to get through that. Okay, so my opponent definitely has a deck that's scary for us here. I don't think Caracas is likely to be a big player in this match, but you never know. I think Pithing Needle is what we're looking for in this matchup. I don't think Hex Drinker is either. Well, the thing that's somewhat of a sell by about Hex Drinker is that it can get through. In that last instance, if it had been something like an Atraxa, it might have worked for us. Don't think Caracas is likely to be a big player in this game. We have Besiege You for Oath. Maybe I do like just having the speed of this. Try something like this. Yep. We can't play around Tabernacle here. We just have to go about our business. Turn 1 Oath, we can't stop. Okay, I can't imagine they have an Oath if they did that, but that's possible. We have two good cards we want to pitch next turn, and Serum Powder and Bloodghast. Okay. Would love a Wasteland here. Dismember. Okay. Do they have a Force of Will again? I doubt it. And this is lethal next turn. Okay. All right, nice win for us there. Little bit heavy on the dismembers, but I'm forced into a little bit more of a defensive position on the draw. And if they do get down an early Oath on me, it's going to be very hard for me to beat those Sarah's Emissaries. And Dismember is one of the ways I can do it. Okay, really like this hand. We do have an answer to an early Oath. once again, we can't sit back. Tabernacle's a scary card for sure, but they have an answer from my vine here. Recall, okay. So a little bit of a brick drawing the extra serum powder there, but I can't complain. Like worst case scenario, they drop an oath on me here, right? And that would give us an option of finding. Yeah, so there's the oath. So let's see if we can get through a force of will here. I mean, we win if this resolves. It's a bit of an ask, but all right. Well, it did resolve. 4, 8, 9. So the only card that really beats us here is a Tabernacle, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't think we wasteland here. All right, guys. There you go. Nice 5-0 for us. I really do like this build here. 5-0 aside, Bloodghast was absolutely the all-star for me in this particular league, and Canister audibled towards 4 of them yesterday, and I have to give them credit for that. The main deck is theirs, and the sideboard is our own concoction. I'm not sure what they were running in their board, but this doesn't deviate too far from how I build my Cradlevine lists. But yeah, guys, as always, I really do appreciate you hanging out with me. It was a lot of fun. Cool to get a trophy. This is my first one of the season. We haven't played too much this season, so it's nice to get a couple qualifier points, just enough to tease me that I'm getting close to being able to qualify for play for a last chance qualifier. But um, all of that said, I think I've only got about 29, 30 QPs, so it's a tall ask for me to find another 10 today. But we will see you guys next time.